So I wish you all a pleasant morning. And today is a special day for us. As the Department of English, Government Arts and Science College, Kovilpatti, is marching into the international conference. It is the first international level of conference organized by the PG Department of English, Government Arts and Science College, Kovilpatti. So we feel happy and proud that we have entered into the international panorama. Thank God the Almighty for the blessings showered upon us. It is a really pleasurable one. So it is my honest duty to welcome all present here. So I welcome all of you present in the International Online Conference, a conference on a socio-lit vision of COVID-19 and its aftermath. A vade-mecum for the scary young generation's present dilemmas and socio-cultural transmutation in an unavoidable globalization. As I previously mentioned, we, the faculty members of the Department of English, take proud that our dream becomes true today through this international conference. Hope it is only a start, and we will continue to have many more in the future with the support of our principal and the college, and of course the faculty members of my own department. So it is my honest duty to welcome our beloved and admired principal, Dr. R. Ravichandran, with whose backing we conduct the online conference. So on behalf of the PG Department of English, I welcome you, sir. Sir, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Also, I express my sincere gratitude for all your impetus and succor. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Also, I welcome all present here in the online international conference. Professors, associate professors, assistant professors from various educational institutions, research scholars of PhD and MPhil, PGUG students, students from other colleges. I extend a warm welcome to faculty members and office staff of my college, also faculty members of my own department, in a special way to Professor Gunasekharan and Dr. Sangeeta, who are the organizers of this international conference. A special way, welcome and thanks to Professor K. Vignesh, a well-wisher of our department. And most of all, I am very glad, immensely take a happiness to welcome the day's resource person, Mr. Ladis Kumar Anthony Xavier, working as a professor in higher secondary schools, Italy, also working as a software project manager for various Italian companies. Mr. Ladis Kumar, sir, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning and welcome.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I wish you all success. I wish you all success. So a few words about our resource person. I had a chance of being together with him for out of a few years during school and college days, as he had his schoolings in Tamil Nadu and took his undergraduate degree at Madurai Kamaraj University. Personally, he is such a gentleman and good-natured, always ready to extend arms to all in need. He is a fine musician. He has completed BA degree in theology at University of Pontificia Salesiana, Rome, Italy. Also has completed studies of information technology and communications, Rome, Italy. Realized important softwares like SWAMD, multi-dimensional evaluation of disability of person, collaborating with various organizations of formation like www.com. He is also fond of the existential hermeneutics teaching method. The highlight of everything would be he is the first non-Italian president of the organization of ACLI, Association Christiani Laboratory Italiani in the 17 years of its history. It's something great. It's the first one to head the association, and non-Italian heading an organization in Italy. Also, he is also the president of ENAIP Professional Formation of Schools. He is very fond of social promotions, intercultural and interreligious dialogues. I believe that this session will enrich us with the knowledge of the world's accelerated globalization due to the modern technology of communications. The COVID-19 is one of the clear example and experience of such a social transmutation. It is very clear that the disease like COVID-19 brings social and economic dislocation to the humanity. But there are some positive aspects of COVID-19, even though we have paid a lot. The conference focuses on the aspirations and the expectations of the young generations today in the socio-economic context and to realize themselves. It leads one to the question of what can the young generation achieve really and how. Indians have become vigilant towards their personal hygiene during COVID lockdown. Work from home has become a part of our lives. The culture has seeped into our living rooms with the people, especially women, juggling between cooking, parenting, and working at the same time. So we give importance to our health. Life got its value, due value, during this lockdown. Watching live YouTube shows for hours have become very popular now. Sanitizing things before use is recognized as the need to stay healthy. So for the first time, we find people wearing mask in public. Otherwise, digging at the back is our culture. Okay, so we are with the mask in public now. Technology has stepped into the breach and will continue to play a key role in educating future generations. Teaching life skills needed for the future. We need redefining the role of the educator. It becomes a must now. Still then, we have a big question in our front. What? Will these changes continue? That's a big question that everyone has to ask. Yes, necessity is the mother of invention. And so I would say that these changes reveal that people from all walk of life have accepted the modifications. Today, our discussion focuses on will these changes enhance our economy or infuse more trouble in terms of employment? What challenges exist for adolescents in lower income communities? But then we hope for the best. A change in our understanding of change. So, the mode of change in change has to take place. The lockdown has forced us to ask what we really need to live reasonably well. Most probably, the answer in most cases is we really don't need much to live, not too much. So, with this short introduction, I leave the dais to the resource person. Once again, I welcome you all for this amazing session. Wish you all success. Thank you. Thank you all the best. Now I request our beloved principal to take the chair and deliver the inaugural address. Sir, please.
Good morning, sir. Good morning to
Sir.
all participants.
Okay,
Good
sir.
morning to
Continue.
all participants of the international conference organized by the PG Department of English of Government Arts and Science College, Kovilpatti. At the outset, I thank Dr. Suresh Joseph to take the efforts to organize 3 continuous webinars from 5th August. I am delighted to state that the inaugural address for the international online conference on a socio-lit vision of COVID-19 and its aftermath. A vademecum for the scary young generation, present dilemmas and socio-cultural transformation in an unavoidable globalization. The pedagogic expansion of the English department really adds strength to the name and fame of the integral growth of our college by recent resourceful pursuits during the lockdown. I am proud of the involvement of the members of English department in the booming accomplishment of the series of state, national, and international level webinars and conferences. And today, we are linking into the zenith of scenario of series of online platform presented by the PG Department of English. I wish them a grand success. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to Dr. Suresh Joseph for advanced planning, which made the 3-day state, national, international webinar such a success. Sir, your efforts in planning, coordination, and execution, and the systematic approaches are main reasons for the successful of this webinar series. The dedicated work have attracted a great deal of attention and praise. I applaud all the members of the Department of English for their consistent efforts and hard work to make this a grand success. Thanks to Professor Gunasekaran and Dr. K.S. Sangeeta, the organizer of the either amazing and remarkable program. I wish you to have many more laurels in the years to come. I am happy to welcome the resource person of the day, though the man of our own land and settled in Italy, Mr. Ladis Kumar Anthony Xavier, working as professor in higher secondary schools Italy, also working as software project manager for various Italian companies. I was taken up by the topic of today's online conference and found it for the existing approach. The coronavirus outbreak exerts a hidden toll on young adults as it saves and values. People remain home, read books, cater to parents and elders at home, respect elders, thought differently, crafted art, played games freely, made new choices, dreamed new choices, dreamed new images, created new ways to live, learned new ways of being, and are still. We are confronted with the true uncertainty of human existence and the true vulnerability of human life. Firstly, could has given a huge lift to online learning, an innovative way to keep their audience hooked at these times of lockdown. Secondly, we have become more hygiene consciousness to clean hands regularly. People have started taking personal hygiene more seriously. The ritual of washing hands and sanitary things before use that started as a compulsion is becoming a habit. Hope this session will enlighten you more on this aspect. Welcome one and all to have a lively, resourceful time with us. Thank you. All the best, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Suresh, we are not able to hear you. Mr. Suresh?
Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, thank you. Sir, Principal, sir, thank you for your nice words of appreciation towards the department. And we promise you, we will continue to keep our growth, okay, in a steadfast way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I leave the platform to the resource person, Mr. Ladis Kumar. You can take over the session.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning to everybody. Greetings from Italy to all of you. Dear friends, I'm really happy to meet you all. The reasons are very many. First of all, it is fantastic to get together, all of us, even though we are physically far away from one another. It's my great pleasure to know Dr. Ravichandran, the principal of Government Arts and Science College of Kovilpatti. I thank him for his valuable initiative of formation. I sincerely thank Dr. Joseph Suresh, the head of the postgraduate department of English of Government Arts and Science College of Kovilpatti, for giving me this wonderful opportunity of meeting young generations. This experience takes me to the green memories of about 30 years ago when I was doing my college studies at Madurai Kamaraj University. I also thank Dr. Sangeeta and Mr. Gunasegaran, who are organizing such a valid and wonderful experience. I define it as an experience, not a conference, because I like the realistic life of every day. It is an experience. I know that there are valid technicians behind this webinar. I thank them also, even though I do not know them personally. I thank all the participants. I think there are about 450 totally. Hope to offer you all some of my views on the current pandemic disease COVID-19. I don't think I will satisfy all your expectations. In this 1 hour of time, I'll try to give you some hints of various themes regarding COVID-19. I must share with you that I really love the motto of your college: to impart quality higher education to rural students so as to uplift their livelihood and thereby enabling them as disciplined citizens with love, knowledge, virtue, and integrity for the growth and development of our nation and humanity. When I go to school for teaching, I dedicate always the first lesson on how and why of the schooling and of the teaching. The main purpose, the main process that must take place in schools and in any levels of education, including the universities, is to inculcate in students the spirit of liberty and that of responsibility. Free to think, free to act, free to speak, free to realize oneself. The freedom that makes each one of us to become a responsible citizen who is able to respect the neighbor and is able to contribute for the betterment of the local and world society, so the humanity. I would like to share also a few words about ACLI, ACLI. It is a great organization born immediately after the Second World War. The founder is an agricultural man without any education. Since immediately after the Second World War, the people, Italian people from the south, wanted to go to the north for the industrialization. But the founder of ACLI wanted to say to the people, the future is in agriculture, not in industrialization. So he founded this association, Christian Associations of Italian workers, laborers. And also the people, Italian people, emigrated immediately after the Second World War to America, North America and South America, Australia, for a better life. And he wanted to help those Italians from Italy for various documents. So it has got about 75 years of life, this association. It's very important association in Italy. Also politically, it has got a very important impact. So I'm very glad to share with you. I'm an Indian. I came here 27 years ago, and I was elected to be the president of this association. And I worked for this association for about 4 years, and I contributed a lot for the social promotion. It is not a boosting of myself. I just want to say to the youngsters that we can do what depends upon us, what we can do depends upon our passion. Okay, so this is my brief experience regarding this association. Then I have done a lot of things where I also learned a lot about social aspects of life. Okay, so now let us come to our topic. The title of my brief experience is very complex, as you have seen. A socialite vision of COVID-19 and its aftermath. A vademecum for the scary young generations, present dilemmas and socio-cultural transmutation in an unavoidable globalization. So, I am trying to share with you my, okay, hope it will be okay. Hope you are all able to see the screen. Aftermath has got two meanings. Okay, so I'll end this and I'll talk only. Okay, aftermath has got two meanings: consequences after an unpleasant event and new grass that grows after harvest. Personally, I would like to imagine that wonderful grass that grows after harvest. I guess that many, if not all of you, know well about agriculture. Every grass after mowing testimonies the life, the rebirth. The theme that we are going to treat is the life of young people like you after the pandemic period that the whole world is living now. We should certainly consider the question of globalization because, according to very most personal analysis, the recent and current COVID-19 is caused by the unavoidable process of globalization. Let us see how. Just a few words from the economical point of view, but we will concentrate on social aspects. There are advantages from globalization: cheaper goods and services for consumers, more competition in consumer markets, reduction in extreme poverty rates, gains from specialization of factors of production, transfer of ideas stimulates innovation, gains from improved labor mobility. There are also some disadvantages from the economical point of view, as you know well. There is trade imbalance, less cultural diversity, corporate tax avoidance, growing relative poverty, brain drain effects. So, globalization has not only shaped the economic, political, legal, and technological landscapes of societies, it has also had an enormous impact on culture and how cultures interact with one another. This makes the change in the society. Just have a glance on the various products that you have used today: the clothes, food, film, music. Look at the international travel, immigration, the ever expanding accessibility of the internet. Look at the social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Periscope, etc. All these media bring people closer, and the globe is no more far away from us. One of my attitudes to study a society is to watch the advertisements in TV. You can easily understand how the society is built up in the specific country. So we can say that the globalization is unavoidable. First of all, let us have a glance of definition of the term globalization. A simple definition goes like this: globalization means movements and exchanges of anything all over the planet, interactions of the populations around the globe. Geographically speaking, it is the set of process, economic, social, cultural, technological, institutional, that contribute to the relationship between societies and individuals around the world. It is a progressive process by which exchanges and flows between different parts of the world are intensified. But the definition that we are going to concentrate on is given by World Health Organization. Globalization, or the increased interconnectedness and interdependence of peoples and countries, is generally understood to include two interrelated elements: the opening of the international borders, increasingly fast flows of goods, services, finance, people, and ideas, and the changes in the institutions and policies at national and international levels that facilitate or promote such flows. Globalization has the potential for both positive and negative effects on development and health. There are very many different definitions from social, economical, and political points of view. I prefer the definition given by WHO because the context that we are going to treat comes under the health aspect of humanity and the interdependence of peoples. More precisely, under the physical and non-physical migration of men and women from one part to the other parts of the globe. You can find a lot of materials on various media like YouTube, Facebook, and very many dedicated portals on the theme of globalization. I leave it to your personal research. What I am going to share with you is the migration of peoples. I think you are well aware of the current situation of Europe, especially the situation of Italy. People from various parts of the world, mainly from Africa, Asia, and Latin America, continuously try to get into Italy and then proceed to other nearby European countries. This phenomenon happens also to our country in India. For example, people from Bangladesh tries to get into the borders of India and search for a better life. And the Indians try to emigrate to America or to Europe. So let us see in brief, what is the connection between globalization and human migrations? There are various types of migrations. Immigrants for labor, those who travel from their own country to other country for labor. Mainly women, because they are ready to do housekeeping and service to the old people. Women are breadwinners and first migrants in this way. Here in Italy, more or less every year, they make a regularization of immigrants. It will happen. It is programmed this year for the 15th of August. Mainly for the women who will work in the houses to help the old people. And there are also seasonal immigrants, or those who hold a labor contract for a particular period of in the year. Every year, a lot of people come to Italy to collect tomatoes because the Italians do not want to do such a difficult job. There are also qualified immigrants, investors, and business owners who travel continuously to make business and to search for economical profit. Immigrants with permanent labor contract are those who have a labor contract without any deadline. International students are those who migrate from their own countries and shift to other countries for higher studies. In Italy, there are so many Indians who come for studies. Family members behind the main migrant. Because if a person goes from India to America, in a very near future, he wants to take all the members of his family. So the whole family migrates. Then refugees and asylum seekers are those who migrate from the countries of political, ethnical, and civil wars. For example, for the last 35 years, we have an example in the country of Sri Lanka. In all over the world, we can see Sri Lankans because they have always emigrated for the last 35 years due to the war, civil war. Illegal migrants are those who migrate without any contract or without any travel documents. They become always victims of human traffic. They don't pass through any airport. They try to travel by sea with all sorts of difficulties. Sometimes many people die in sea. The migrants of second generation or the children born in the receiving country to the families who have migrated a long time before, they continue to have the citizens of the original country. There are two systems to give the citizenship of the destination country: use soli, right due to the birth in the particular country; use sanguinis, right obtained through the citizenship of one of the parents. And there are also retired people who migrate, who get retirement after professional service in their own countries and shipped to a better place in the world to spend the rest of their life. This is also an increasing phenomenon according to the latest world statistics. The last type is the returning migrants who go back to their own original countries. And there is a 12th type, which is not categorized here, of the people who migrate for studies and remain there in a foreign country because they fall in love with the partner. This is in my case, okay? So I don't belong to the 11 types. I belong to a 12th type because I came to Italy for studies and I never imagined to remain here. As you have noticed, the humanity migrates continuously. Immigration and immigration are the two directions of the migration, and it is currently considered transnational. The migrations are a very complex social construction. The two poles of original society and the destination society come into play an unavoidable role of the individuals and the societies. It is estimated that there are 272 millions of immigrants all over the world, and among them around 30 millions are international refugees and asylum seekers. The migration originally begins for labor and to set up a family in a better society. Now, let us see what are the causes of migrations. We have different views and different approaches also here. I opt for some of them. The inequality among the various areas of the world, the push factors of the countries of origin. For example, if a country, African country, is poor, the African people tries to go to a better country, economically considered a better country. The pull factors of the countries of destination. Sometimes, for example, the Indians are attracted by the American culture. So it is a pull factor of America that attracts the Indians. Then the network life. This aspect is continuously promoted and lived together by the people. The transnational approach is that the migrants continue to have relationship with the society of their origin. So we can say that globalization is unavoidable, even though there are some groups we cannot say that there is only one cause for every migration, because the migration is always a complex social phenomenon. The specific and the particular cause does not exclude the other. It is a mix of more than one cause. And there are also political dimension of immigration, the priority of control of territory and borders. You know very well, no? We have, in India, we have this experience. The border strengthening of every country, interpretative models of migration policies, the economical factors, historical and cultural factors, and society-centered approach, the state as a bureaucratic administrator of migrations, national security and interdependence, globalization due to liberal and neoliberal policies of economy. You can see it very well. For example, Amazon is spread all over the world. It is it is the effect of globalization, and at the same time, it causes also globalization. Global mobility against restrictive orthodoxy. Even though there are many models of migratory policies to regularize the migration, there is a certain number of individuals pass from one country to the other in various ways without any control and without any document. Therefore, it is necessary to regularize periodically people without any document. When there are restrictive way of control, the individuals search for an alternative way of entering into developed countries. We can see in this situation the gap between the authorized migration and the effectively residing individuals. In Europe, political and social programs are continuously discussed and promoted to regularize the immigrants from other continents. So I have selected two arguments regarding globalization, why the globalization is unavoidable, for two reasons. One is migration, immigration and emigration of peoples from one country to the other, from their own societies to the unknown societies. And the second point is communication, that we can realize not only interpersonal communications and also on web. So globalization becomes unavoidable. What is communication? Communication is fundamentally a relation between two persons. It is a participation. There is no relation without communication. The communication is the fundamental instrument of any social relationship. Personal contact between two or more persons, two or more societies, etc. It is an interpersonal communication, one to many, through mass media or on web. It is a message, and at the same time, it is a process. There are some rules and regulations in the communication process. There are some codes. It is also a reciprocal respect in the dialogue. The communication is an exchange of ideas, views, and messages. With the modern communication, the freedom, liberty, democracy is promoted continuously. The function of communication is to construct one's individual self. The manipulative function, it exploits the other sometimes, the communication. As I told earlier, how the advertisement can exploit the society. It is also a social glue. They say in French, collant. It unites two poles, okay? One who offers and one who receives the message. Difficulties in interpersonal communications. All the communications are not very easy. There are some situations where the communication becomes very difficult. Not sharing the common view, common goal. So the communication becomes a discussion. Different levels of materials and relations in the communications may make things impossible. The first thing of the communication is being ready to listen to the other, listening attentively. And there is also non-verbal communications. So in this modern world with various social networks, I ask the young people to be very attentive using these instruments. They are very powerful, they are very useful, but they must be used with intelligence. What happens while communicating comes in the emotions, and sometimes comes in also some sentiment. Sentiments are the emotions that will endure for longer time. Communication through mass media, the interpersonal communication disappears when there is mass media because there is a filter. We have filtered messages that may persist for a long time. So when you get a communication, when you get a message, you must ask these questions. Who says what, in which channel, to whom, with what effect? Who says what, through which, to whom? These are the questions that we must always ask when we get into communication with mass media. Under what circumstances, for what purpose, with what effect? The new mass media, so digital mass medias promote one-to-one communication, one to many, many to many. The digital communication is an opportunity. For example, this webinar is an opportunity. It is not an evil. It depends upon our approach and our way of using it. It is a constant interactivity between the authors of messages. The social relations and in the social relations in and with new mass medias of social networks. It is something strange. It has changed the whole world. Social network and virtual communications have changed the mentality, the culture of the humanity. It is peer-to-peer. In social networks, all are equal. When a politician publishes something in Facebook, he is equal to everybody who is reading that message. But it is a mediated, becomes a mediated action. There are three factors we must have in mind. Social system, so culture, institutions like governments, departments, political system, and economy. Medial system, different medias, productive process, individuals and collectivity, single person and a collective group of people. So socialization, social role, ideal self. So it becomes also an interaction with the whole world. Virtual persons. Persons become virtual, so it becomes anonymous sometimes. So we must be very careful when we use the social networks. So what we can conclude regarding communication, regarding new media. The medial offering has become pervasive. You can see it has become very normal daily life. The media do not create the reality, but strengthen and legitimize certain social phenomena and values. The media promotes the consumerism. It has become almost a reality. It is not reality, but it has become almost reality. A very big number of social stories from the media. Every day you can read so many stories, small, big stories in various social networks. The media culture except some particular situations, is not of great value. One of the purposes of the mass media is to create a big noise in the mind of people so that the society remains without mind to reason out on things. It is up to us how to use the communicative instruments, mass media, etc. So, concluding the globalization that has become unavoidable, we can say these two elements are to be considered: migration and communication. You can reflect on your own how these two elements are important for the globalization, so that the globalization becomes unavoidable. After this, I would like to present you a sociologist. He is from Poland. I am very fond of his thoughts, his teachings, his views. He is Zygmunt Bauman. He is of our century. In this context of globalization, I would like to bring to your knowledge the postmodern philosopher, sociologist Zygmunt Bauman. I personally listened to his conference when he was invited by our bishop to speak on the destination of the liberty. In 2014, it remains always a beautiful experience in my mind. He died in 2017 at the age of 91. He has left back a lot of books, articles, lessons, points, and interviews. Bauman was a Polish-British socialist and philosopher. He was driven out of the Polish People's Republic during the 1968 Polish political crisis and forced to give up his Polish citizenship. He emigrated to Israel. 3 years later, he moved to the United Kingdom. He resided in England from 1971, where he studied at the London School of Economics and became professor of sociology at the University of Leeds, later emeritus. Bauman was a social theorist, writing on issues as diverse as modernity and the Holocaust, postmodern consumerism, and liquid modernity. He is famous for his definition of the postmodern society as liquid one. The postmodern society is, according to him, liquid. It is not solid. It is fragmented. It is continuously fragmented. It does not have a specific physiognomy. It assumes continuously a new structure. According to him, we live in a society without solid and definitive principles. We don't have a solid place. Okay? We don't have a solid time. According to him, everything is liquid. The postmodern society is liquid. And he gives also a very positive interpretation to the word utopia. We consider utopia as a dream, unrealizable dream, useless fantasy. Bauman says the presence of utopia, the ability to think of alternative solutions to the most urgent problems of the present, can therefore be seen as a necessary condition for historical challenge. In a simple word, we can say that we must dream. We must continue to dream. Our dreams can change the society, the history of our society. Concrete word here is hope. Seneca the Younger of 2000 years ago says, spem metus seguitur, which means fear follows hope. A Dutch philosopher of 17th century, Baruch Spinoza, says, Maiori spe quam metu, more for hope than for fear. So we can define that the society is constructed on hope. It is also a theological virtue for the Christians. Bauman has radically changed the vision of sociology, and this one is no more the same after his pronunciation on the liquid society. While Weber of the 19th century defines that it is possible to separate the observed from the observer in social analysis, Bauman overturned this definition, saying that the analyzed social data are conditioned by the human beings. They cannot be abstract. They are existential. They are realistic, and they are concrete and comprehensible. So, the observed reality is connected to the observer. They cannot be separated, according to Bauman. He also speaks about happiness. Today, meeting new friends has become incredibly easy. With a few finger movements, we are able to add a person to our network, okay, asking for friendship in Facebook. And at the same time, however, Facebook always also gives us the opportunity to break relationships and friendships with the same disarming simplicity. In these words, we can understand the approach of Bauman towards globalization. In his writings titled The Human Consequences in 1998, he looks at the phenomenon of globalization as a complex of opposed forces in competition among themselves, forces of division and forces of union. The globalization, according to Bauman, divides and at the same time unites the society. It is a process of meeting and clash between the societies. Once upon a time, it was only a geographical process, and with the introduction of internet, this boundary is really removed. So the globalization remains without any boundary. The society must be the place of intercomprehension, of solidarity, and of collaboration. It cannot be any more a place of competition, because life is not a competition. There are no more limits, no more walls, no more insuperable obstacles to embrace in our existence any type of style of life. It is I who has to decide on the personal style of life. If we want to be happy, we must break the walls, not those who are outside of us, but inside our mind, inside our own self. Only the angels and the beasts can live outside polis. Polis means society or city of people. But we are neither angels, and we do not want to be animals. The happiness starts in our homes, houses, and not in internet. He speaks about also the multiculturalism. Bauman says the new indifference to difference is theorized as a recognition of cultural pluralism. The political line provided and supported for this theory is called multiculturalism. Thus, he criticizes multiculturalism. The society is multicultural evidently. It is very evident in India. India is composed of very many states, very many cultures. So Gandhi was saying India is diversity in unity and unity in diversity. But Bauman says the attention is moved from the economical, social inequality to the cultural domain. In practice, the multiculturalism acts like a socially conservative force. It happens recently also in India. I think I hear from here there is some conflicts. There are some conflicts between the cultures, between the regions, between the states, between between their religions, which is due to the multicultural aspect of a society. The cultural diversity has become a place of benefits and of some politicians. I mean, the politicians exploit the multiculturalistic aspect of the society for their benefits. So, according to Bauman, people migrate to the countries where something more is offered, also from the cultural point of view. For example, for the reason of culture, a person may not feel well to live in his own country, so he wants to emigrate. The persons who are social obtain more positive results in life. The cultural empathy, the open-mindedness, the social initiative, emotional stability, and the flexibility are the valid characteristics of success in life. Okay, now we shall enter into COVID-19 and what are the what will be the next step after COVID-19? COVID-19 will not be permanent for eternity. We will overcome it, but what will be our position in that period? Economical and COVID crisis. In 2008, the whole world started with the economical crisis and it continues with the health crisis due to COVID-19, which provokes still more economical crisis in the globe. We all know very well the social, political, cultural, and economical difficulties provoked by COVID. I take it for granted that you know this crisis. I hereby share with you the experience that I had in my city. It was totally, the lockdown was total. Around 3 months, we were kept inside. And you can imagine in a small apartment how a family can live. They cannot go out with small children, and it has become a very tough situation for the people. But I was happy because ecologically it was a good situation. There was no car on roads. There was no noise pollution. There was no pollution of any type. So there were also some positive aspects of COVID-19. A collective reflection on the value of life, a collective reflection on the value of ecological system, a collective reflection on the value of respecting the nature. I always bring an example of India when I teach about the nature, because in India we are accustomed to respect every single life of the nature. In Europe, it is less concerned. For example, the life of a tree is not important. It is not so important for the Europeans as for the Indians. Reflection on the value of money, reflection on the value of friendship, solidarity, and collaboration, the need of meeting people personally with the physical touch and not only virtual touch. Above all, the great change in using the communication instruments. So here there are people also in Europe who try to avoid or do not respect the modern communication system, but they have learned the importance of high-tech now in this COVID-19. As you are viewing here in Italy, all the universities, schools have opted for the electronic communication through various portals. So what is the next step? Here we must speak about a strange word, resilience. This word has got two meanings: the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, from toughness, the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity. So, in other words, we can say how we should be and how we should become after COVID-19 to overcome the situations of crisis. We should ask ourselves, what does it mean for me personally, COVID-19? And what is our reaction, personal reaction to it? So what is the meaning of resilience for me? There are other three terms that we must not forget when we are resilient: elasticity, resistance, and patience. The word resilience derives from Latin word resilio, which means rebound, bounce, like a metal spring. I bend. The COVID has bent me, so I bend, but I am not broken. I must change my attitude, my habitude, because I must overcome the difficulty. I must become strengthened after COVID-19. What is resistance? In physics, the resistance is a synonym of resilience. On the contrary to elasticity, yes, I break myself, but I will not bend, which means I use my determination, perseverance, fortitude, tenacity. For example, during Corona, look at the doctors, volunteers, caregivers, nurses. They continue to work. So they continue to work with determination because it is their profession. What is patience? Latin word patire means ready, no to suffer. Ready and no to suffer. Moral virtue and passiveness in front of an unchangeable event. Here comes in the faith. It is a form of resistance in critical situations like coronavirus. Trust in God and in medicine. It is not enough to trust in God, and we must also search for scientific solutions. So medicines. We are all elastic, flexible, resistant, patient. So we are all already resilient. And at the same time, we need to become resilient more and more, because the difficulties like COVID will happen in our life always, and we must be ready to react. How we can interpret the difficulties, it is more important than the solutions. How to face the fears provoked by coronavirus. The disease brings together the fear. It frightens. It's normal. It is natural. Some people say, I am not afraid of coronavirus. This phrase is not a prudent one. Look at the case of the Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson. Perception of fear is something positive, because who knows the consequences of the disease knows to collaborate to overcome it. He knows one who knows the difficulty can also find the solution. The fear cannot and should not become panic. We can categorize here three types of fears. The fear of thinking that the disease is without any remedy. The fear to have fear, unable to dominate the fear. The fear of something unknown. COVID-19 was unknown till February 2020. Politics of fear. The government must assure the citizens that the disease will be overcome, will be defeated. The government must dedicate economical and psychological resources to the personnel who works in hospitals. The whole country must be aware of what really is happening due to coronavirus. The associations, the non-profit organizations must take an active participation to do so. So, this is the condition of COVID-19. Now let us see what can be, what would be the vademecum. All of us have all the three fears. All of us desire to overcome those fears. In Italian, they say tutto andrà bene. Tutto andrà bene. It was written everywhere, in front of their houses, on the roads, everywhere. Tutto andrà bene, which means everything will go all right. Okay, everything will go all right. Don't worry, be patient. So let us hope. The hope is important in our life. Some advice to all of you. It is important to read the statistics of the disease coronavirus. An objective observation of data, realistic data, real data, not imaginary data, published by the authoritative organizations and valid social medias, contribute to overcome the pandemic disease, to the war against the epidemic. It is a war. It is a war between the humanity and the virus, creating a collective positive spirit and approach to the disease. Learn to manage the information and deviate it in positive thinking and positive actions. For example, narration, distraction, arts, etc. Learn to manage the uncertain situations without going mad or getting into panic. For example, as soon as here in Italy, 8th March was the first day of lockdown, and some people went into panic, and I was simply reflecting, how can I help these people? So I had an intuition. I coined the word web concert. So here for people, digital instruments are familiar. So I collected some music schools with some children and organized various web concerts. The parents were very happy, and slowly I have realized some web concerts including all the continents. I created an event for about 40 artists from all over the world. This experience I'm sharing with you just to tell you that the difficulties must make us creative. We should not concentrate on difficulties, but the difficulties can become an opportunity. So, what to do? What should I do? What should I be? Try to give sense to the situation of disease, of difficulties that the whole planet is get now. Some practical advice to all and to each one of us. Resilience of the warriors. I define warriors, the doctors, the nurses, the volunteers, the caregivers. The first place where the war against the coronavirus should take place is hospital and health centers. They should not lose the resilience and rather must improve it. Actions must be taken considering the concrete statistics, objective observation, and not some strange hypothesis. Enforce all the equipments to control the emotions and to avoid the panic. Resilience of the patients. Immediately after the warriors, therefore, doctors and nurses come into the scene, the diseased, the sick patients, host the disease, but transform it in a valuable asset. Tell the patients that as long as they desire to live, the disease can be defeated. Never feel defeated by the virus. Create hope in their heart, in their mind. When a person comes out of the hospital cured from the disease, tell him that he is alive because he really wants to enjoy the life, because the life is a valuable asset. The resilience that is practiced by the common people at home, roads, at job, all must become aware of the change of lifestyle provoked by the COVID. Our lives change and undergo radical transformation, both in good and in evil. We must possess a psychological approach to these changes. We are tempted to accept the positive aspects and refuse the negative ones. Rather, we must begin to battle against the negative changes of life and overcome the negative aspects of the disease. We should not concentrate only on the evil, and psychologically it may suppress our life. Some changes are temporary and some others cannot be defined and will be irreversible. We must ask continuously a question: since the life changes, what can be my invention to conduct a better life? Accept not only the positive aspects, but also the negatives. These ones must give us input to invent something advanced. Give importance to your creativity in the situation of difficulties. Change your life in your family. All the members of the family are dominated by the fear of contagion. Here we need to support one another with hope and encouragement. Search for the goods, search for the other's good, health conditions and of all, and in particular way that of the old people at home. Consider the number of family members, invent the new formation of socialization, dynamic relations and the status of the family. And in the beginning, it was said we are very much concentrated on hygienic life. It is also important. Now in Italy, they say there are only three things that we must consider regarding COVID. First one is wearing the mask when you go out in the public, and then wash your hands continuously, and then keep the social distance. With these three instruments, we can avoid COVID. At least we can reduce it. I think they will find also vaccine as early as possible. I hope that it will be in the market next March. So what happens in the families who have some deaths at home? We usually say, oh, he loved me, he helped me a lot, he wanted to see me always happy. These are the phrases that we use when we miss somebody forever. We must be able to elaborate our bereavement. It needs courage, it needs hope, because the life continues. Our life continues. We can also help people who have lost their relatives due to coronavirus. Change of life by walking ahead. We cannot return back. I mean that we must always go ahead without stopping due to the evil, due to the disease. We must be able to valorize the evil and convert it into good. It is not so easy, but we can at least try it. And lastly, spiritual resilience. From where the good comes, we often make this question. From where the good comes, why there is evil in this world? We are always in search of valid reasons or the valid reason of our life. One of the sources of resilience is represented by giving sense, giving reason to the things that happen to us. I think we can find only a partial answer for such questions, but we should continuously search for reasons. The period of COVID-19 must provoke in us a question, indeed, which is stronger, the evil or the good? What is the real significance of this evil that has spread all over the world? Let us just imagine that the nature is intelligent and communicates through its behavior that it is not satisfied with the human nature. It is a war between the nature and the humanity. The nature wants to teach us something. We are living in a diseased world. It is very sorrowful phrase when we say that we live in a diseased world, but this is the reality. We did not give the just attention to the nature. Pope Francis says well about this in his encyclical Laudato Si. He looks at the whole world as the common good, the common home. You can read the documents, and I will share it with Mr. Suresh. He can share, forward it to you. You don't see Pope Francis as a religious leader. You can read this document as given by anybody, because in Italy there are also some people who are against the church, against the teachings of the church, but they have shared with me, some friends told me, if I have known this Pope some years back, I would have been become a Christian, because this Pope does not teach only the Christians. He looks about, he looks forward to a better world. The migrants are considered parasites by the developed countries. The old, the ugly, the poor are considered useless. During the COVID-19, an Italian old man gave his bed to a young man, and he preferred to die because he told, I will die, however, in a few years, but the young man must live very many years. This was the spirit of this old man, and this can be the spirit of all of us. A new form of resilience, supporting the idea of inability to defend the life at any cost. So, defend the life at any cost, and at the same time, live a sublime tolerance. I will conclude my conference with a phrase of Bauman, who says, you are a stranger, I am a stranger, we all remain strangers, and nevertheless, we can like or even love each other. This is the future humanity. I hope the youngsters who have listened to me can take it as a motto of their life. Thank you. Thank you for the audience. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Ladis Kumar, for your thought-provoking ideas. As far as the conference is, my opinion, okay. In literature, in literary criticism, while talking about dramas and work of arts, we will say that there should be a beginning, there should be a middle, and there should be a ending. And yes, your conference, of course, had a historical background. There was a wonderful beginning, and the middle, it connected both the beginning and the end, and you had a superb ending, giving a lot of examples, from your own life, and giving them pictures of Italian scenes during COVID-19, and you have given a very good, enthusiastic, encouraging, life-directing ideas to our youngsters. And I thank you and congratulate you on behalf of the principal, on behalf of the college, from the PG department. I thank and congratulate you. I wish you all success in your endeavors in the future. All the best. Thank you, Mr. Ladis. Thank you for your wonderful speech. Okay.
Okay. So I don't know whether there are some questions or some sharings regarding.
Yes. Okay, we will leave it. And before that, and you quoted some Italian lines saying that everything will pass away. But in India, especially in Tamil Nadu, you know Tamil well. In a recent times, we were having a WhatsApp trend saying that iduvum kadandu pogum. Iduvum kadandu. The wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. People are hoping against hope, we can say also. So thank you a lot. Thank you. Wish you all
Okay.
success. Now, participants, if you have any questions, you can ask now. Participants, if you have any questions related to our topics, you can ask now. It is open to discussion. It will be for a few minutes. So anyone who wants to ask questions, have conversation with the expert, you can ask or post your question now. Most welcome. Come on.
Also, if they want something about, want to know something about Italian experience regarding COVID-19, it will be more realistic than some imagination.
The chat box is also open. You can also type your questions there. If you want, you can message the chat box. Okay. If anyone who is willing to make your questions through chat box, you can also make use of it. You can also directly ask. It is open. Just unmute your mic and unmute your video and ask questions.
Perhaps my conference was very much exhaustive and there is no question.
Maybe. Okay, it is so clear. It was so clear and very explicit that everyone might have understood in the right way, and that's why we have no questions. It seems okay.
I hope.
Okay, Professor Guna, shall we conclude? Professor Vignesh and Professor Guna, shall we conclude?
Yes, sir. We can conclude.
Okay.
We can,
Yes, on the outset, I thank all the participants also, especially the resource person of the day, a man of the land, settled in Italy. I hope it might have given him a boost, being with the people of the land. Okay, and I thank all the participants. I request Dr. Sangeeta to propose the vote of thanks. Madam, you can take the dais.
Thank you, sir. As quoted rightly, gratitude is a quality similar to electricity, but must be produced and discharged and used up in order to exist. So I am here honored to have the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this special occasion. On behalf of Postgraduate Department of English, Government Arts and Science College, Kovilpatti, I extend my sincere thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Ladis Kumar Anthony Xavier, former President, ACLI, and Software Project Manager, Italy. We are indeed fortunate to have you with us, sir, and as a resource person for the international webinar, A Socio-Lit Vision of COVID-19 and its Aftermath. I am very grateful you took the time out of your busy schedule for accepting our invitation. I'm sure participants will agree with me if I say you enthralled us, sir, with your language and with your social consciousness and with your presentation. It was very relevant to our current scenario. Thank you very much, sir. Now I express my deep sense of gratitude to our principal, Dr. Ravichandran, sir, for always motivating us to conduct webinars. Thank you, sir, for your constant support and guidance. I would like to thank Dr. Joseph Suresh, sir, head of the department and convener of the webinar, for taking wonderful initiatives, being the pillar of the webinar and meticulously planning, establishing the context and bringing the participants of today's event. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank the two people behind this entire webinar without whom this would have been not possible. From my own department, Professor Gunashekaran sir, the organizer of the webinar, and Professor Vignesh sir, our academic friend, have done all the technical nitty-gritties that such a session demands. Thank you for your hard work. dedication and responsibility, sir. My humble gratitude to Lord Almighty for showering us with His abundant blessings. And I am glad and thankful to all the enthusiastic participants from all over the world for being a part of this great and grand event 2020. Stay home, stay safe, and stay positive. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, every participants. Now the participants can leave the platform. I request the participants to leave the platform. Thank you.